Good evening, friend. The United States is all set to elect its next president, the 47th president of the United States of America, with the people voting. Voting has been on, in fact, for a while, and we are building up to Super Tuesday, which is November 5, which is tomorrow, when the final voting ends, and in fact, even trends start coming in, as it happens in the case of United States. While there is a national popular vote, the final decision rests with the Electoral College, which is of 538 electors. And for a candidate to win, halfway mark is 270. So between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, whosoever goes past that mark, 270 mark for the Electoral College, becomes the next president of the United States. Let's look at who between the two is good so far as India is concerned. Kamala Harris, as we build up to the countdown, she had made some comments against India on the abrogation of Article 370. Generally, the liberal establishment has been adopting a push and shove approach when it comes to India, so perhaps not good. Look at these graphics. Swing states, these are the key states where the battle is spanning out. Georgia, with Atlanta as its capital, where 60% of the state's population stays, and Georgia also the headquarters of CNN and Coke. Georgia also the state of Martin Luther King Jr. And that's where key battle is taking shape, because remember, swing states are those which one election are with one party, the other election they go to another. In the case of Georgia, it went with Biden in 2020, but was with Trump in 2016. So if it has to come back to Trump for Trump to win, and so it's important. Then similarly, we have Arizona, which is another state which shares its border with Mexico, and hence infiltration of the illegals is a big issue there. And Arizona, of course, sends... Okay, so other states, the swing states being Nevada and Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, all in the Midwest. Those are key states. In fact, Pennsylvania happens to be the biggest of the key swing states because it sends 19 electors to the Electoral College. I believe we have our guest now joining us, and he is Shahjahan Alexander. Shahjahan Alexander is the General Secretary of the Global Organization of Indian Christians. But more importantly, so far as our conversation goes, he is grassroots strategist for the Georgia state, for the Republican Party, the Grand Old Party as it is called. He's essentially part of the Trump team in Georgia, and that's one of the key battleground states, the swing state that we were discussing. Welcome, Alexander, and please tell us how it's really looking like on the ground, just 24 hours ahead of the counting of ballot in United States.
Good evening, Mr. Abhishek. It's looking great. We have the final rally for vice president, the future vice president, the vice presidential candidate, and the future vice president of the United States, J.D. Vance. It's scheduled to happen in the next few hours. The doors are actually open at 8 o'clock, the Eastern Standard Time. It's around 9 o'clock in the morning here. So 1 hour before the doors are open, I'm actually getting ready to head to Cobb Galleria, where the final campaign event for the vice presidential candidate, J.D. Vance, is happening. And we're going to wrap up our campaign rallies, this as the last stop for vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance. Last night, we had one of the huge rallies that Georgia have ever seen with President Trump. More than 50,000 people attended that rally in Macon, Georgia, and President Donald Trump was very confident and he was very energetic. You know, late at 10 o'clock in the night, somebody like Donald Trump, who never took a 1 day off from his campaign trail, where Kamala Harris had to take several vacations during the campaign trail, and President Trump never did that. That is President Trump.
Okay.
During the 4 years of...
But Georgia is also a swing state. Alexander, you think it's going to swing Trump's way? I think it's very important for Donald Trump to win and J.D. Vance to win Georgia if they have to go to the White House?
Absolutely, absolutely. I really don't forget about what happened in 2020. After the 2020 election, we had the gubernatorial election. We won with a great majority in the state of Georgia. We won several congressional seats in Georgia. So I don't want to buy that stuff saying that Georgia is a swing state. Yes, I agree for the technical reasons for what happened in 2020. Georgia is a swing state, but we are not going to buy that this time. Georgia is not a swing state. It's a ruby red state because we've been winning this state. And like other major metro cities, Georgia has several metro cities, including Atlanta. There are other metro counties like Gwinnett County, Fulton, Cobb County, which is run by liberal, radical, communist Democrats. They are running these counties where they wanted to take over the state of Georgia as well they did to New York and California. But that is not going to happen. We are not going to let that happen this time. We are going to win the state of Georgia. We had several rallies. In last 1 week, President Trump was 3 times he was in Georgia. He loves the state of Georgia.
You are from the Indian diaspora. You are from the Indian community there. And what's the scene like with the diaspora? Are they coming out and supporting Trump this time?
Absolutely.
But traditionally, they have voted Democrat.
Yes, unlike 2020, there are more Indian community, a lot of Indian community, from every diaspora, whether it is a Christian, Hindu, Muslim, anything, anybody you name it, Kerala, Karnataka, anybody, Indians as a whole, they are coming out, not just in Georgia, in other states too. You could see if you see the statistics of how much shift has happened among the Indian community, from Democrats to we call it as we call it as rallying out of the Democratic Party, or we call it Dexit, exiting out of the Democratic Party. That is what we call. There, people are exiting out of the Democratic Party because of what they have seen in last 4 years of Biden and Kamala Harris administration.
Right.
And there were 46%, more than 47% of Indian community supporting Democratic Party.
Just stay with us. Just stay with us. We'll discuss both the candidates, Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, in the context of how it pans out for the Indian diaspora there in the United States. Just listen into some of the sound bites that have come from the campaign, and then I come back to you. Stay with us.
Let us use our power to advance the cause of freedom, opportunity, and justice. Yes, let us turn the page and write the next chapter of our history, a chapter grounded in a divine plan big enough to encompass all of our dreams, a divine plan strong enough to heal division, a divine plan bold enough to embrace possibility, God's plan.
On Tuesday, you have to stand up and tell Kamala or Harris. When I say Harris, nobody knows who the hell I'm talking about. I said Harris was out tonight. Who's Harris, sir? Nobody knows who she is. But on Tuesday, you have to stand up and tell Harris that you've had enough. You can't take it anymore. You're the worst vice president in the history of our country. It's the worst administration in the history of our country. Kamala, you're fired. Get out. Get out. You're fired.
Okay, it's interesting, Alexander, that Kamala Harris chose a church for her last campaign speech, a black church at that. But tell us, something about how the last 24 hours are spent by the candidates. Now they are not supposed to campaign; they must be relaxing with their families, or do they? And do they come to the campaign headquarters and closely watch the developments? Nail-biting finish expected this time. How's the scene like there?
Unlike India, there is no rest. There is no silent campaign day. President Trump and Senator Vance is on the campaign trail starting this morning. That's what I said. Tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock, the polling begins. but Senator Vance is speaking, and President Trump is also on the trail. They are not resting. I don't know about Kamala Harris and Governor Walz, because Kamala already took several vacations in the last few weeks. She took day off from the campaign. How can somebody do that? That's what President Trump himself asked. How can you do that? So there is no rest. We don't have a rest day. We're going to work the whole day. I will be out in the field. I will be knocking doors. We have a team of people who are doing that along with our candidates. So there is no rest. We are working hard. So the last 24 hours, less than 24 hours, everybody is knocking doors. Everybody is placing yard signs, and we are on a battle. Right. We are on a battle to take this country back.
Right. If you look at from the Indian community's point of view at the diaspora, Alexander, the fact that typically Democrats are a little liberal when it comes to immigration, and Trump has actually announced that he's going to launch the biggest deportation plan in the history of the United States. Obviously, he's talking about the illegal aliens, but the fact that some of it could come to the other migrating communities as well. In that context, you think the Indian community perhaps might be more tempted to, you are a Republican, but the Indian community might be more tempted towards standing by the Democrat side and Kamala Harris's side, given the fact that she's also of Indian origin?
No, I don't think so, because every single one, even the children, even the kids know President Trump is not against immigrants. He's not an anti-immigrant. I'm an immigrant. You know that. I came to this country as a legal immigrant. I like to emphasize that word. I came to the United Nations, United States of America as a legal immigrant. I stood in front of the Delhi embassy for 3 hours in that hot, and I stayed in the line. I got the visa properly, and I came to this country. Like me, millions of Indians came to this country as legal immigrants. They either came on a dependent visa or an H-1 visa or a company transfer visa, any kind of visa that was legally allowed by the United States. A lot of people, millions of Indians came. So President Trump is against illegal immigrants. When I say illegal immigrants, the border crossing illegal immigrants who has a criminal background, right, where there is no proper vetting by the United States State Department and the Homeland Security. Right. There is no proper vetting by the Immigration and Customs. ICE was not doing any proper vetting. That's what he's saying, that if there is illegal immigrants being found, they will be definitely deported, which every single normal citizens of this country wants to do that, except the liberals.
Okay, last question to you, Shahjan. As much as it is a Democrats versus Republican fight, as much as it is a red versus blue fight, it is also Tamil Nadu versus Andhra fight. How's the India played out in this US campaign?
Well, I don't want to say it's a Tamil Nadu versus Andhra fight. I agree that Vance's wife, she's an Indian. She's a real Indian. Our next vice president, the next second lady of the United States is a real Indian. I don't think Kamala Harris is a real Indian. She goes to the Indian diaspora, she's an Indian. She goes to the black community, she's black. She goes to the Jamaican community, she's Jamaican. She is the epitome of hypocrisy. That's what we have seen in last 4 years as her term as the vice president, and the previous years as the senator or the attorney general of California. I just wanted to close out. I think that my time is up. I just want to mention one more thing. When Mr. Abhishek, you were saying that you played that clip. She was at a black church. The day that she denounced the Christian faith, and next day she's at church. One day she denounced the Hindu faith, next day she's at the temple. Okay. One day she denounced the Muslim faith, and she's at the Muslim church the next day. That is not how you work. Okay. You have to have some kind of ethics, where Kamala Harris don't have that. She is definitely an epitome of hypocrisy, and she spew lies after lies to tarnish President Trump and his character. And that's not going to happen. American people who wants a stronger America is not going to buy that.
Okay, fair enough. These are going to be tense 24 to 36 hours for everyone in the United States, particularly those who have been part of the campaign, and you have been part of a campaign, Shahjan Alexander, for the Republican Party. But, from here in India, it feels good that Chole Paneer also became part of the campaign, because J.D. Vance, in his interview or the Joe Rogan podcast actually mentioned that he started liking veg food after his wife introduced him to chole and paneer. I think we'll continue this conversation, rolling coverage of the US presidential polls. Thank you so much, Shahzan Alexander, joining us live from Atlanta. And on that note, we slip into a short break.
I'm Shivani Kala reporting from New Jersey, USA, and I will be bringing you an up-close coverage of one of the most historic elections of our times. We'll take you right to the pulse of the polling booths and capture all the excitement on the ground. Stay tuned for every moment as it unfolds.